and today we are learning how to fabricate different designs of tops and blouses from our basic bodice pattern using the slash and spread techniques. If today is your first time on this channel, I'm so glad to have you here. On this channel we upload detailed sewing tutorials weekly, and I'm sure you wouldn't want to miss out on any of our tutorials. Kindly go ahead and subscribe to this channel, and as you subscribe, hit that notification bell so that I get notified as we upload those videos weekly. And please, for everyone, I want you to help us like and share all of our videos so that a lot of people will get to know what we do right here on this channel. Back to our tutorial for today. Here are some designs that we shall be looking at using the slash and spread techniques. The above design had already been done under star formation part 1 using dart manipulation technique. If you are yet to watch that video, the link will be put in the description box below. Kindly do watch as foundation knowledge for today's video. Now, when we talk about slash and spread technique application on basic bodice pattern to create different designs, we simply means drawing either a straight line or a curved line on a basic pattern and cutting through that line and spreading your pattern. This has nothing to do with your dart in any way. You can actually draw a straight line or a curved line on your basic pattern to create fullness. When you draw this line, you simply cut through the line drawn and you will spread. Once the fullness is being created, the fullness has to be controlled so that your pattern still has the shape you should take. It will now be controlled in terms of you could use gathers or pleats or tucks to control the excesses of fullness being created. Now, to learn that, this my first design has no waist dart nor side dart. Here is a sample of our basic bodice pattern, which is the front piece. And since this design, what we have on this side is also what we have on the other side. A singular pattern, which is my half of my pattern, is just enough to draft this design. And here is my small scale. I have a video already on how to draft your small scale pattern, which is primarily for practicing purposes. Take for instance, you want to practice the whole of this design already drawn out here. Just with your small scale pattern now, you could draft and practice easily instead of using your full pattern to practice. So you could look up the link for basic small scale drafting in the description box below. Starting from this first design now, it has no waist dart nor the side dart. So the first thing we need to do, having done our neck width and neck depth, will be to transfer these darts to where they are needed and where the neck region. So we'll pick a particular point on the neck region. I'll be picking this very close to the center front, and it has to touch your apex. This is dart transfer now, not slat and spread. So for this design, we first need to adopt dart transfer under dart manipulation before we now input our slash and spread techniques. So having cut through now, I'll need to close up the width of my dart at the side, and at the same time I'll need to close up the width of my dart at the waistline, and I'll go ahead and secure it with cell tape. So I just hold them down with cell tape. So having done this now, we still need more. This design requires more volume being created. So how do we get these excesses, this volume being created? Then we need to now apply the slash and spread techniques. How do we slash and spread? You draw your straight line or your curved line at any point you want it. Here, the neck region is where we want to impute the fullness. So I'll draw the line from here, and it has to touch the other end this way. As I've explained, Then I can pick the second. We have 1, 2, 3. So the dart transfer has given us the first point. So the slashing now, this will give us the second. So I need to slash one more time to be able to create the particular design at hand. So having drawn the slash line, I'll cut through this way, and I need to get to this very end, but without cutting it, without separating the pattern. Then I'll cut this as well to the tip. Then I need to label it properly. This is my center front, and this will be the folded region. So that's my fold symbol. Then I'll go ahead to place it on another paper now to finish up the design. So placing it on another paper now, I'll use my gun to secure it. The center front here, maintaining a straight end. This will take its position automatically because at that point we transferred, we did not slash and spread. Now for the point where I did the slash and spread, I applied the slash and spread, I will be the one to determine the width of the excess, the volume that we want to create. So I'll just measure and determine the space. Once that is done, then I'll go ahead to secure the pattern. So this is the width I want at that region. Then this is the width I want for this. And the pattern must remain flat. So always try to secure your pattern very well on the paper. How do you now intend to close it up? Are you applying pleats or tucks, or you want to dispose in form of darts? For this now, I intend to finish them up using pleats, applying pleats. So I'll go ahead now and arrange the pleats as if they're already sewn, folding it just like so, the original shape and size of the pattern before it was slashed. So I'll go ahead now and do this second part like so. Then even this other part like so. Then I could make use of my tracing wheel and just trace out the neckline, or just go ahead and simply cut as arranged this way. Then I'll go ahead and cut the other part following my pattern. So spreading out, this is what we'll have. So simply go ahead now and place this on fabric. So this is what we have now. Then we'll go ahead now and remove the pattern and prepare the pleats and arrange the pleat on the neckline properly. So I've done one side. So in the same vein, I'll do the other side facing the other direction. So having sewn and pressed down, this is the result, and we have been able to arrive at this particular design using this pattern. This was the pattern we fabricated, and this is what we have. Look at the wrong side. For this second design, we'll still need half of our bodice pattern for the front to fabricate this design, and you could see that the side that is no more there. That means the side that has been transferred to the waistline. Even at the waistline, or what is visible is just the same line, which is from the apex down to the waistline. So the first thing we need to do will be to transfer this dart, the side dart, to the waistline. So I'll simply connect, following my dart leg this way to draw the line. Then I'll transfer by cutting through, touching the apex and closing up the width of the side dart. So the next thing we now need to do is to get all these excesses, these volumes being created, and to get excesses and volume, we'll apply our slash and spread techniques. And you could see that the slashes actually start around the excess, around the seam, the dart around the waistline, but didn't get to the side seam. So that means this is where we'll be imputing the fullness. But before I input the fullness, let's get our dart right. Here is the dart leg, and we still have the remaining parts here because we transfer our side dart to the waist. So here now we're now having double dart at the waistline. So we need to get the width of the dart properly outlined, so that on the waistline we'll just be left with our actual waist measurement. The dart will have been taken care of. Now for this design, the waist dart is not visible, or you have a seam line. So we need to first cut out the width of the dart, which is this remaining part and this remaining part on the other side. So all we just have here now will just be seam to connect this and the side piece and the center piece together, even though we are not cutting through. So now we can go ahead now and impute and apply our slash and spread technique. So I shall be drawing my slash lines here, 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 till I get to the apex, somewhere like so, this way. And I'll be cutting through from here down to the sides, and we are adding the fullness here. According to this design, we are adding fullness here. So I'll start cutting off, and it's best to number for such a design like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that in case you mistakenly cut through, you can still get your arrangement very well. So we'll be cutting down to the edge, but not cutting through. So having slashed like so and numbered, we'll go ahead now and place it on another paper to finish up the pattern. And here is my center front. Let me label again and put in my unfold symbol. So I need to first secure that end like so. Then afterwards now we'll be spreading the slash line. So you determine the width. You could do half-inch spacing, you could do 1-inch spacing, and we'll go ahead to arrange like so. So having determined the spacing, the width of the fullness that we want to impute, so this is what we'll have afterwards. So I'll go ahead now and fine-tune the edges. For this particular design, I intend to dispose the fullness in form of girders. So I'll just fine-tune these edges, connect together like so, and we'll cut out the pattern following the edges, the shaping that we have, the outline of the pattern like so. So this is what we have afterwards, having cut out. So we'll go ahead now and place on fabric. This is the folded edge of the fabric. So we'll place our pattern like so, pin down and add seam allowances as necessary. Adding seam allowances and cutting out, this is what we'll have. The side seam allowance will be slightly more than the other parts. So what we'll do now will be to remove the pins, then we'll go ahead to do the sewing. So I'll be running loose stitches here to actually gather these ends, and what we'll be controlling will be this remaining part of the dart leg that will help us to secure it in place like so. Now after sewing, this is what we'll have. The excess created has been disposed in form of gathers here, and this was the pattern that created that design for us. So So that's how to go about the drafting, and by the time you draft the lower part and join together, you arrive at this design. This is asymmetric, so I'll need full of my front pattern to produce a design like so. And the first thing will be to do our neck width and neck depth. Haven't done that, we need to draw the style line and be able to cut this part separate. So imputing the style line like so, something like this, we'll cut it out. And before you cut, make sure you impute your grain line this way. Then afterwards, we'll now go over to our dart, transfer and slash and spread technique. To continue the drafting, we need to transfer our dart now to the style line like so, something like this. Then we'll cut, be able to close it up, the dart. In the process of transferring now, then I'll go ahead and hold the dart with sellotape. Then for the other side, the other set of darts too, we'll connect to the apex like so, and be able to transfer both side dart and waist dart. In the process, we're already creating fullness that will give us this effect. So I'll close the dart here and close the side dart here as well, and hold both down with sellotape. Having done this, we have successfully transferred all of our darts, and we have been able to achieve just 2 points of fullness. But on this particular design now, we're having 4 lines of fullness. So how do we get the remaining 2? We'll go ahead and adopt the slash and spread technique. So I can take a point here, take another point here. So it's up to you where you actually put it. You can just try to follow through the style that you're doing. So I draw my slash line here and another one here, somewhere here like so. Then I'll be cutting it. This is where the fullness will be added, so I'll cut through from here, but it has to get down to the tip without cutting it through for it to be able to spread out and still remain flat. I'll do the same for the other side here. Then I'll need to place it on another paper now and then finish up the fullness. So placing my ruler on the line like so, I impute my grain line. Then I can now continue the spreading. So I determine the width of the fullness I want to be creating at each segment. So having determined the width, then I'll go ahead now and hold it down with the help of my gun. Here that was transferred, so this automatically has its own width of fullness. Then for this region, I also slashed it, so I'll determine how wide I want the fullness to be created. But before cutting off, how do you intend to take care of to dispose the fullness? So for this, I also adopt the pleats method. So following the spacing now, then whichever direction you want it to rest, maybe upwards like this. So you prepare the pleats. Then this again, probably upwards like this. Then this as well upwards like so. Then this. Then with the help of our tracing wheel, we will go ahead now and trace. Then we'll cut off. So now, having cut the edges here, we've gone ahead to cut out the pattern the way it's supposed to look like. So now we are done with the drafting of the pattern for this. By the time we place on fabric and do the arrangement of the pleats as drafted, what we are going to be having will be that particular design, and you'll see that the bust region, the apex, is still popping up, not flat. By the time everything is arranged back this way, this piece of pattern now will be attached and everything comes back to normal. So let's go ahead and place it on fabric. Having placed on fabric to cut out, this is what we'll be having, and I've gone ahead to mark each of the fullness created now as guideline for the arrangement of the pleats. I've gone ahead to cut the fabric also for this other piece. So quickly do the sewing now, then we'll see what we have got here. So this is what we have after sewing. We've been able to arrive at this particular design using this particular pattern that we drafted, and here we are. So that is that about this particular design. These other sets of blouses that we want to learn how to draft with the application of slash and spread techniques are full length blouse. These other ones had waist cuts, seam at the waistline. So, but for this, we'll draft them as a full blouse without waist seam. There is already a video on how to draft your blouse pattern. I'll be putting the link also in the description box below so that I have a better understanding of how to go about drafting your blouse pattern, even though you are using a simplified bodice, which starts from the waist and ends at the, we start from the shoulder and ends at the waistline. So to first do this design now, we check whether we need a full pattern or half. Since this is not an asymmetric, we need just half of our pattern like so. Then the next thing we need to do will be to extend it to blouse length. Then we'll go ahead and impute the darts on the lower part as well. Then, having done this now, to go about this particular design, we are going to be transferring it. At this region, we could not see our side that means it has been transferred. So the best thing for us to do will be to draw the style line and also transfer the side dart to the style line. So picking the style line from the center front like so, then to come slightly to the around the under bust area. So we're having it like so. So we need to cut through. Then we'll be transferring this dart now, the side dart to this region. Then we'll go ahead and now impute this the apex. So we'll draw the line like so, cut through, then we'll be able to close up the width of the dart. But this will only give us just one point that we're going to be having fullness. So to getting the other excesses, then we need to draw in more slash lines, and this is where the slash and spread technique comes in for this particular design. So slash like so, slash like so, you go slash this way as well, as much as you desire, but since it's concentrated around this region, so we are good to go with this. Then we'll be cutting through this way, since this is where we want the fullness around this region. So the next thing will be to place it on another paper and spread out. And like I said, when you have things like this that the shape is irregular, you need to first input your growing line, which will be guiding us when placing it on fabric. Don't always forget. And that's from that region now you begin your spread. You need to first secure that region, then you can now spread out from that part. So you determine the spacing that you want and spread. Cutting out the neckline and every other part. So this is what we'll have afterwards. Then for the lower part, I'll cut properly as well. So this is what you have as the full pattern drafted. We'll go ahead now and place on fabric. So this is what we have, placing the pattern on fabric. Then marking out my dart now. We first need to construct the dart. Then we'll be attaching the upper part. Having held the darts on the lower part and marking out where the fullness will be inserted here, and even where the fullness starts and ends on the pattern or the upper part, we'll go ahead now and prepare the fullness and dispose within this region like so, and even for this other side like so, and we'll join. So here is now the final outcome for this particular part design, and here are the patterns that produce the design, and this is what we have. And you can see that the bust region is popping up, the apex region is popping up, is not flat, and that's the beauty of pattern drafting. For these two and more sophisticated application of dart manipulation and slash and spread techniques, kindly do contact us for the paid class. If this video has been helpful, kindly go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share this video as well for others to join us on this platform. Until my next video, thank you for watching. Bye for now.
Lapery College of Fashion, raising professionals.